Guess what? It's very possible that video games on your computer could soon start deleting themselves at any moment. I mean, what if I told you that major gaming companies are already putting clauses in their legal agreements that require you to physically destroy your own game collection, including the physical discs you own, and when they decide to pull the plug? This isn't science fiction, guys. This is happening right now, and it gets so much worse than you think. Today, I kind of want to take a look into Ubisoft's recent kind of shocking EULA or EULA changes that demand players destroy their physical games, how DRM and kernel-level access could make remote game deletion a terrifying reality, and why this represents maybe one of the biggest threats to gaming ownership that we've ever seen. Time for some tea or coffee. All right, trust me, you are gonna want to stick around, because it turns out games might literally be able to vanish from your hard drive without your permission, or actually with your permission, because believe it or not, you've probably already given them permission to do this. But first, let's talk about what happened at Ubisoft that kind of triggered this video. All right, so here's what sparked this investigation on my end. So gaming communities recently discovered disturbing language in Ubisoft's end user license agreement, or their EULA. And when I say disturbing, I mean absolutely dystopian. To quote, it says, upon termination for any reason, you must immediately uninstall the product and destroy all copies of the product in your possession. Let me repeat that. Destroy all copies. That means if Ubisoft terminates your license for any reason, and they can now do that at any time for any reason, according to that same EULA, you're now legally obligated to take your physical game discs and literally destroy them. Okay, so think about that for a second. You bought Assassin's Creed with your own money years ago. You own that physical disc. It is sitting on your shelf. But if Ubisoft decides they don't like you anymore, they expect you to smash it with a hammer. Really? Now, here's where it kind of gets concerning, because you could just ignore that, right? Like, how are they going to know? Initial reports suggested this was a new addition to Ubisoft's EULA, causing massive outrage. And the truth is actually worse. This clause has actually been in place for over a decade. So it's not actually unique at all to Ubisoft. So similar to destroy all copies, language appears in EULAs from Rockstar Games, Sega, Larian Studio, Square Enix, and even Steam itself. It's been found in agreements for Final Fantasy VII Remake, Baldur's Gate 3, Oblivion Remaster, and dozens of other major titles. And here's the question that really should terrify every gamer. What if companies didn't rely on the honor system? What if they could just make the games delete themselves? I mean, what's gonna stop them from doing that? Because I know I'm not gonna destroy my disc. I'm not going to uninstall my game if I don't want to. So what's gonna stop them from just doing it themselves? You know? So this is where things are going to get kind of scary, guys, at least from a technical perspective, because the infrastructure for remote game deletion isn't just theoretically possible, it's already partially in place. So let's start with DRM, or digital rights management. Modern games are packed with DRM systems that, phone home to verify your license. Denuvo, Easy Anti-Cheat, BattleEye, these systems have deep access to your computer and constant internet connectivity. And when I say deep access, a lot of these, if not all of them, have kernel-level access. And that kernel level access is what opens the door to our potential nightmare scenario. When Anti-cheat software runs at the kernel level. It operates with the highest privileges on your system. It can access any file, modify any process, and yes, delete anything that it wants. But how's remote game deletion actually going to work? Well, I did some research and here's how it could work in practice. So, step 1, always online verification. Most modern games already check license status every time you launch them. So this creates a communication channel between your computer and the publisher's server. Step 2 would involve that kernel level execution that I was talking about. The anti-cheat systems like Vanguard, Easy Anti-Cheat, and BattleEye run with these administrator privileges and kernel access. They can modify system files, access protected memory, and execute commands with full system authority. A simple rm-rf blah 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 could easily do that. And then step 3 could involve remote command execution. These systems already include mechanisms for remote updates and commands. So for example, research shows that Riot's Vanguard includes features that allow developers to remotely disable and uninstall anti-cheat systems. All right, so let's connect the dots. Imagine combining these capabilities. A kernel-level anti-cheat with remote command execution could, theoretically, delete game files from your hard drive, remove registry entries, clear cache and save data, and even attempt to detect and delete backed up copies. How disgusting is that? Oof. This isn't pure speculation either. We've already seen some concerning precedents. For example, Steam once accidentally deleted users' entire home folders on Linux during game uninstallation. You have instances of various DRM systems that have caused system instability and even file corruption. Kernel-level anti-cheat has also been exploited by hackers for remote code execution. The sober reality is actually the scariest part. Publishers wouldn't need to hack your computer. You've already given them permission through those EULAs that nobody reads because it's corpo speak and legalese and 30 pages long, which they need to stop that. That's just stupid. But anyway. Back to the point. After discovering Ubisoft's EULA language, I decided to dig a little bit deeper at how widespread this practice is, and the results might shock you. So let me walk you through what I found. Steam's EULA contains similar termination language requiring users to uninstall games upon license termination. Rockstar Games explicitly states upon any termination, you must destroy or return the physical copy of your software to the licensor, as well as permanently destroy all copies of the software. EA includes provisions for their kernel-level EAAC anti-cheat to modify system files and requires destruction of copies upon termination. Sony PlayStation has been found to include similar language about destroying copies when support ends. My pattern recognition skills are tingling because to me the pattern is clear. Major publishers are creating legal frameworks that assume they can revoke your access to products you've purchased and require you to eliminate all traces of those products from your... Now, the enforceability of these clauses is questionable. Legal experts debate whether such terms would actually hold up in court, especially for physical media. But the fact that companies are including this language suggests they're testing the waters for more aggressive enforcement, which leads to an escalating concern. And really, that's what worries me the most. We're seeing this legal groundwork being laid at the exact same time that publishers are gaining unprecedented technical access to our computers through kernel-level DRM and always online requirements. Also, it would take a lot of legal time to fight back against this, and who knows how many games they will have deleted from your computer between now and then, if you even win the legal battle. This ties directly into the broader industry push towards games as a service and subscription models. Philippe Tremblay, Ubisoft's director of subscriptions, literally said that gamers need to get comfortable not owning their games. And of course, this does bring us back to the Stop Killing Games movement that's fighting back against these practices. So let me show you that this isn't just theoretical fear-mongering. So we already have multiple real-world examples of companies remotely deleting, revoking, or destroying digital content that people thought they owned. It's not necessarily games, but bear with me here. So in 2009, Amazon remotely deleted copies of George Orwell's 1984 and Animal Farm from customers' Kindle devices without warning and without permission. And think about the irony of that for a moment. Amazon literally reached into people's personal devices and deleted 1984 Orwell's novel about totalitarian control and surveillance. Customers woke up to find books they had purchased simply gone from their devices. Amazon later claimed it was due to a copyright dispute, but the damage was done. They proved they could and would remotely delete content from your personal devices, and if you paid for the digital access on your Kindle, I'd argue that's yours now. Apple has repeatedly removed purchased movies from their customers' iTunes libraries. In some cases, this happened when licensing agreements expired. In others, it was due to content being updated or remastered. Customers who bought movies like The Interview or various Disney films found their purchases simply vanished. And what was Apple's response? You can always re-download it if it's still available. But that's exactly the problem. There's no guarantee it will remain available. And the users paid for it. Come on. Google has shut down multiple services taking purchased content with them. Google Play Music subscribers lost access to their purchased music libraries when the service transitioned to YouTube Music. Many purchases didn't transfer properly, leaving customers with nothing. Google Reader, Google Plus, Stadia, the company has a graveyard of services where user content just disappeared forever. Oh, and remember earlier I brought up that Linux home directory disaster? Yeah, that's a terrifying example of an accidental deletion. In 2015, a bug in Steam's Linux client caused the uninstaller to delete users' entire home directories when removing certain games. We're talking about people losing family photos, work documents, years of personal files, all because Steam's uninstaller went rogue. One user reported that Steam deleted everything in my home folder, including my entire development work spanning months. While this was a bug rather than intentional, it demonstrates the technical capability and the potential for catastrophic data loss. In 2005, Sony secretly installed rootkit software on customers' computers through music CDs. This software ran at the kernel level. Sound familiar? And was designed to prevent copying, but it also created massive security vulnerabilities and was nearly impossible to remove. When security researchers discovered this, Sony's initial response was essentially, most people don't know what a rootkit is, so they won't care. This shows how willing companies are to compromise your system security for their goals. Let's talk for a minute about specific games that have been lost. The Silent Hills demo, which Konami not only removed from their PlayStation stores, but actively prevented people from re-downloading, even if they'd previously downloaded it. PlayStations with PT installed became so valuable as collector's items because the game was completely inaccessible. Otherwise, they're going for hundreds of thousands of dollars on sites like eBay. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World was delisted in 2014 due to licensing issues. For years, there was literally no legal way to play it. While it was eventually re-released, there was a 7-year gap where the game was effectively dead. Sega removed Alpha Protocol from all digital storefronts due to music licensing issues. Customers who hadn't already downloaded it lost What all these examples show is that companies have been testing the waters for years. They've been normalizing the idea that digital purchases aren't really purchases, they're temporary licenses that can be revoked at any time. Each incident pushes the boundary a little further. First it was we're fixing a copyright issue, then it was licensing expired, now it's we're shutting down to focus on new projects. The gaming industry is watching these precedents very carefully, and every time consumers accept that their purchases can simply vanish, it makes the next deletion all the more easier to justify. So let me paint you a picture of where this could all lead if we don't take action now. Imagine it's 2030. You boot up your gaming PC to play your favorite single-player RPG, a game you've owned for years. But instead of launching, you get a message, license verification failed. This content has been removed from your system for compliance with updated terms of service. I'd be pissed. I'd be very pissed. Because guess what? Your game is gone, and not just unplayable, completely deleted. Your save files, screenshots, mods, everything wiped clean. And when you check your other games, you discover that the same kernel-level DRM system has scanned your entire drive and removed any unauthorized copies or backups. This isn't science fiction, okay? The technical building blocks, like we've been building up to, are already in place. Again, kernel-level access through anti-cheat systems, always online verification requirements, remote command execution capabilities, legal frameworks requiring destruction or termination of content when licenses are revoked. This is all being built right now. We've already seen smaller versions of this dystopia as well. And I know up until this point we've been talking about digital, but it's also not just PC gaming. Modern consoles have the technical capability to delete content remotely. With always online requirements and automatic updates, your PlayStation or Xbox could easily remove games from your system without your knowledge or consent. Even physical media isn't safe. Modern consoles can detect what discs are inserted and theoretically refuse to read blacklisted titles. We've already seen region locking and DRM that prevents legitimate discs from working in certain situations. In this future, you not only don't own anything you rent, but your rented access to entertainment can be revoked at any time for any reason without compensation. Your game collection becomes worthless overnight when a company decides to sunset older titles and then remove any additional ability to play it, even if you wanted to, or even if you could support it. And this extends beyond gaming. If we accept that companies can remotely delete products we've purchased, we're establishing precedent that could affect music, movies, books, software, anything digital. I mean, it already is. And here's the uncomfortable truth. This is only going to get worse, and there are specific economic and technological reasons why companies are moving aggressively toward total control over your gaming library. From a business perspective, permanent ownership is a problem for publishers. When you buy a game once and own it forever, that's a one-time transaction. But if they can convert ownership into ongoing subscriptions or rental agreements, that's recurring revenue forever. Just look at the numbers. Netflix makes $31 billion annually from subscriptions. Spotify pulls in $13 billion. Xbox Game Pass is approaching $3 billion. Meanwhile, traditional game sales are becoming increasingly unpredictable and front-loaded. Publicly traded gaming companies are under constant pressure to show quarter-over-quarter growth. Ownership-based sales create feast or famine revenue cycles. Subscription services provide predictable and steady income that investors love. And they've now made that my problem. Because Ubisoft stock price has dropped over 80% in the past 5 years. Their solution? Push harder towards subscription models and tighter control over digital content. When Felipe Tremblay said gamers need to get comfortable not owning their games, he wasn't making a suggestion. He was announcing their survival strategy. The infrastructure for total digital control is already being built. 5G and fiber internet make always online requirements feasible for more users. Cloud gaming services, while in some ways cool, eliminate local file storage entirely. Kernel-level anti-cheat normalizes deep system access, and AI monitoring can detect and flag unauthorized game modifications in real time. And then you have blockchain verification that could create tamper-proof licensing systems. And every digital deletion incident we've seen has pushed legal boundaries further. Courts are increasingly ruling that digital purchases are licenses, not ownership. The legal definition of buying software is being systematically eroded. When Amazon deleted 1984 from Kindles, the legal precedent was set. Companies can remotely access your devices and remove content. When Ubisoft killed The Crew, they established that purchasing a game doesn't guarantee permanent access. And perhaps the most concerning is the generational acceptance of these practices. Younger gamers who grew up with Netflix, Spotify, and mobile apps are already comfortable with access-based models. They've never experienced true digital ownership. To them, the idea that you could buy a game once and own it forever seems as outdated as buying physical music albums. This cultural shift makes resistance that much harder. So we're heading towards a future where the concept of owning digital entertainment becomes as antiquated as owning a horse for transportation. Everything will be subscription-based, cloud-delivered, and remotely controlled. Your gaming library won't be a collection you've built, it'll be a service you rent. With content that appears and disappears based on licensing agreements you have no control over. So, as I researched this video, I kept thinking about my own game collection or my husband's game collection, physical discs from the 90s and 2000s that still would work perfectly today if I didn't destroy the console. But digital games I've owned for years, some I haven't even been able to play yet, could disappear tomorrow. Publishers like Ubisoft have built their empires on the creativity and passion of gamers. They've profited from our loyalty and our wallets. But as we've seen with The Crew, PT, and countless other examples, they're increasingly willing to destroy the very products that built their success. And I believe the technology exists right now for companies to remotely delete games from your computer. We're seeing the legal frameworks are already being established through EULA, and we've already seen companies delete content from personal devices across multiple industries. I don't think this is them saying we could do this. I think this is them saying we will do this. And they'll be able to hide behind the EULA unless we're able to challenge it. Here's what gives me hope, though. Awareness is growing because every time a company pulls a stunt like The Crew shut down or, we find these changes to the EULA, more gamers wake up to these threats. Consumer advocacy groups are fighting back. Some regions are starting to pass digital ownership protection laws. So really, I just wanted this video to kind of talk about some of the concerns that I'm seeing and how I could see technology wielded against us and something to keep an eye out for. I guess at the moment, there's not really any action that you could take other than just be aware. And when you find things that you can fight for, fight for them and make your voice heard. Make sure all these companies know that you're not okay with this. Vote with your wallet. Support indie games that don't have these clauses in their EULAs or, actually act like and prove that they respect you. Don't let them kill your games. Don't let them delete your digital history. We gotta find a way to fight back. Anyway, that's all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for watching this kind of depressing video. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day and peace out. Bye.